Free trials may sound like a great way in order to test drive services. However, they often lead to costly surprises.
Be careful when it comes to free subscription trials, because I've just been charged £119 unknowingly.
Got charged randomly, she didn't know what it was, and it turns out that Amazon was forcing her into a trial she didn't know she was a part of, and then charging her once that trial expired.
In today's video, we're diving into how companies trap you with free trials, exploit forgetfulness, and make it very hard and cumbersome in order to cancel their free trials. This is done in order to retain you as a customer, keep you subscribed, and keep pocketing your money. Let's get started. Stick around to the end of this video because I'll share with you some key insights in what to look for when signing up for these free trials and how you can usually detect these hidden costs earlier before you sign up for the free trial. What to watch out for.
I've been tempted by a free trial offer, whether it's for a streaming service or a digital subscription.
Some quick results for free. Well, it turns out a lot of those free trials are fake.
About free trials that aren't really free.
Fake free trial offers are costing millions of Americans more than $1 billion.
Here's the deal. There is no such thing as a risk-free trial period when you're buying something.
Looks promising, results seemingly too good to be true.
The illusion of free trials. What free trials are actually costing you. What if a free trial wasn't actually free? What if by signing up for this, some of these services are actually charging you without you knowing? Free trials are actually everywhere, offered by streaming services, fitness apps, diet programs, and beauty subscriptions, each promising you a no-risk free way to try out and explore their services. These deals often sound like a win-win. You get to try something for free, and if you don't like it, you can simply just walk away. That's the pitch anyway. Unfortunately, some of these free trials come with hidden subscriptions or cancellation clauses that do one thing: to keep you on the platform engaged and make it difficult to cancel to retain your business. They want to ensure that you stay, intentionally or not.
I signed up to the free trial because it said it was free, 7-day trial, and that I could get back any subscription fees that have been sitting on my account that I didn't know I had. So I thought, this sounds good, it looks legitimate. I read the reviews. There's a lot of really good reviews on Trustpilot. I now know why there's good reviews on Trustpilot, but I'll come to that in a moment. I signed up, and 10 minutes later, without even having my bank details, somehow through my email address and my phone, they had accessed my bank account. I took a £129 subscription fee. I didn't give them permission for this. I've now had to cancel my debit card and ring. Now the reason they've got Trustpilot reviews that are so good is because the second you sign up, they make you fill in a review, or you can't go any further.
Here's the first trick. About 62% of people on average forget to cancel their free trial before it expires. So the program automatically renews, thrusting you into a subscription service that you completely have forgotten about. To companies, this is where the money is made. For many people, and I'm guilty of this myself, it's far too easy to just sign up for something that lasts a free trial 1 or 2 weeks, and then suddenly a month has gone by and you're like, oh, I forgot to cancel that. I wasn't that interested. I'll just hold on to it for another month or two. I'll see if I actually like it, I guess. Now the companies have you. Some companies are notorious for making their cancellation procedures very difficult and hard to find. It's so easy to sign up for all these online platforms. It's usually in big boxes right at the top of their website. Sign up, limited sale or discount. But when you go to cancel, you often have to Google it or search through cumbersome windows, all this text, and find out where the cancellation is and how you even go about doing it. Maybe the cancel button is buried in layers of menus or fine print, or you have to navigate through endless websites in order to check off that box and finally cancel your subscription. Or worse, they actually make you call in during regular business hours when you're usually at work and are often too busy.
The problem is not that they're free. The problem is that they're oftentimes a trap for repeated payments.
This entire system is designed to make you stop, rethink, or delay your cancellation. So why does this keep happening? Let's look at why the word free is so powerful. Behavioral economists such as Dan Ariely have studied how the word free impacts people so drastically. It's not just the idea that something costs free when you initially look or think about buying it. It's that temptation becomes irresistible. The words free trial, you instinctively think, oh, there's no risk, no downside. You don't stop and think long term because in the moment, it seems like an easy decision. Businesses understand this and use that logic in order to pull people in. The truth is, this gets you more hooked initially than straight up just offering you value to begin with. There's a hidden psychological commitment when you first start using these products or services. There's an unwritten mentality of obligation to that company. You start building commitment and establishing a rapport with that company, and you think about maybe unlocking some more of their products and services because there might just be the chance that one day you might actually need what they're offering. Through small daily habits of sometimes occasionally using the service and engaging with it, you're establishing small commitments that will keep you on the platform. How many things do you actually use and you're like, well, I've had it for so long, but in actuality, I don't use it that often even. I'd barely notice if it was gone. But you've always had it around. It's just become normal. The financial toll goes well beyond just monthly or annual subscription fees. Some companies tack on startup or administrative costs that weren't obvious when you signed up.
Caught in a trap. It was supposed to be for free, and now I'm enrolled in something. Thousands of Canadians tricked by free trial.
These companies are scammers, and they need to be shut down.
Shipping fees, activation fees, premium charges, features that you didn't know even existed when you signed up. While a $15 charge here and a small $5 fee there might not seem like a lot, they begin to snowball and quickly add up. The Federal Trade Commission has issued warnings that sometimes free isn't totally without costs, especially when you tack on these additional charges. Another factor to consider is the frustration and time it takes to call in and actually cancel these subscription services. How often do you go on? Because I know I have, and you go to cancel a subscription and all of a sudden boxes start popping up. Are you sure you want to cancel? Hey, 20% off if you stay on. They'll start throwing everything they can in order to keep you as a loyal customer, keep you in that plan. They don't want you to cancel. This intentional design is what is known as dark patterns. So it's so easy to sign up for something, but canceling it, that's another story altogether. They're just hoping that you reconsider canceling and just let this subscription ride. Everybody's aware, and I'm sure you've seen numerous videos on how subscriptions are now the wave of the future. You don't own anything. It's better to license it to you for a monthly cost or annual subscription. I remember when I first heard about this, and it was where Bill Gates is talking to Steve Jobs, and he was talking about Windows, and he said, no, we're not going to sell it to you. We're going to license it to you. It'll be an annual license in which you'll pay us every month in order to use this Windows operating system. And then soon it began to snowball into other companies. One of the most famous is, of course, Adobe, right? How you don't really own any of their assets. You're always charged a licensing fee, which can get pretty expensive. I just recently canceled most of my Creative Cloud subscriptions because it's just too much to pay. And I don't own anything. I'm always stuck in that perpetual plan of having to pay for something. But I don't own any of the software. It actually all belongs to Adobe. So I traded in my Adobe Photoshop for Affinity Photo 2. And I'm very happy with it. Consumers lose because it takes time to navigate this maze of canceling your subscription. And it's often very cumbersome. You get aggravated, you delay calling in. I've been there. You don't want to spend hours and say, I have to book off a Saturday afternoon to cancel it. And you know what? I'm just going to keep the subscription and pay the $15, $20 a month. It's not much. You start tabulating all those subscriptions. They quickly add up. The frustration and aggravation you feel when trying to cancel these subscriptions is designed like that in order to have you delay or reconsider canceling. The FTC is working on canceling and updating the free trial policies. However, change is slow and there's more legislation coming. It is being passed, but there's a lot of hoops to jump through. These roadblocks are intentional to keep you on so that the companies get richer over time. These gradual subscriptions add up and contribute to their bottom line. But hold on, these tactics don't just hurt your wallet. Check out this next section. 3 stories of being trapped when free trials turn costly. Imagine opening up your bank statement and seeing an $89 charge for something you barely remember signing up for.
The average person loses over $180 on these.
Here's how they usually work. You give the company your debit or credit card information to pay for shipping and handling.
And then in that very fine print that it's a reoccurring charge unless you cancel.
That's what happened to a Canadian consumer when they thought they were signing up for a 7-day free trial subscription service. It seemed like an easy way to sign up for the product without any commitment. However, they noticed 2 weeks later that they were charged for the full annual membership service. There had been no reminder email, no notification that their free trial was ending. And when they tried to cancel their free trial, their frustration only grew. The company required that they call in during regular business hours, and after sitting for hold on 30 minutes, the representative said sorry, they actually couldn't refund their money. There was nothing they could do. This story might seem all too familiar. Take another example from the Better Business Bureau. A US citizen signed up for a free trial on skin cream based on a glowing advertisement they saw online. The only cost was a small shipping fee. However, when they received the product, they were charged for additional expenses that they were simply unaware of. Not only were they signed up for a full subscription without their consent or knowledge, but when they called in and tried to cancel it, they were met with representatives that said there was nothing they could do and their charges couldn't be refunded. These aren't isolated incidents. These happen all the time to people you know, maybe even yourself. Another viewer signed up for a free trial fitness app that auto-renewed at $29.99 monthly. What made matters worse? The company required a written cancellation notice. And after multiple emails and numerous mailed in cancellation notices, the company replied with, sorry, there's nothing we can do. You've missed the deadline. If you go to your bank and try to dispute the charges, well, their hands are somewhat tied as they have limited things on they can actually do. And who's going to sit there and read these long, lengthy 10 to 20 page documents with fine print and take 1 to 2, 3 hours out of their day to read every little phrase and clause? However, there is a way that you can go through these contracts quickly in 2 to 3 minutes and not spend hours doing it. I'll show you at the end of this video. Now, one quick tip that I'll give you now in order to offer value. If you don't enter any payment information, whether it be your credit card, a PayPal account, anything like that, well, you're most likely safe. You won't be charged. Say you sign up for a free trial and you just enter your name, your email address, and that's it. Maybe a password. There's no way for the companies to charge you. So as long as you haven't entered any of your personal financial information, you're most likely safe. However, if you have entered information like a credit card, your PayPal account, anything like that, financial information that can be linked back to you, even if they say they're not going to charge you, they can still charge you if it's in the fine print because you have linked yourself to financial information. The Better Business Bureau has logged over 58,000 complaints about free trial offers from various companies throughout the US and Canada from 2017 to 2019 alone. Consumers lost collectively about $1.4 billion. Billion with a B, with the average victim losing roughly $140. In Canada alone, the Anti-Fraud Centre reported an 859% increase in subscription traps from 2016 to 2017. Those who filed reports lost an average of about $248. Beyond the money, it's the time, the frustration, and the sense of being betrayed that really gets to people. There's a sense of fear and panic and just feeling duped, right? When you get home and you're like, I actually ended up paying for this. I didn't agree to that at all. This isn't what I signed up for. I was just thinking about the product or service. And then they wonder why so many consumers and people don't trust companies, right? And what about those people that don't regularly check their Visa or bank statements and then 6 months, maybe a year has gone by and then you notice the charge? There's almost shame and embarrassment that people feel being suckered into these gimmicks. Now, I don't want to say that all free trials are bad. Of course they're not. There are some great, fabulous products and companies out there, and they simply offer you a free trial because they know you'll like their product and there's no strings attached. This video is specifically for those shady, bad companies that try to trick people and get them sucked into the endless loop of paying for stuff, subscriptions, services, products that they simply don't need. They want to get them on the hook and keep them there as long as possible. That's who I'm talking about in this video. So like I said, most people aren't going to carefully go through and read or take to a lawyer all these terms of services, right? They're not going to say, oh, I'm going to take 3-4 hours out of my day and go through this contract. I'm guilty of it too. So many people just say, yeah, looks good, I guess. Yeah, check the box, free trial, and you hit the button. So like I promised, what can people do, right? And then I thought about it. We're surrounded by all this AI technology. Surely there has to be something we as consumers can do. Sure enough, there is. So a big thing that you can do when thinking about signing up for a free trial, because we know you're not probably going to read all those terms of service and take 3-4 hours out of your day, use AI, whether this be ChatGPT, Copilot, Gemini, take your pick. Something that can read text and either insert the link or copy and paste the text and paste it into one of these AI programs. Now, in all fairness, ChatGPT, some of these programs have limitations, right, on the text they can read, but do it in chunks. And it can read and filter output something like, I want to understand the terms of service, the free trial contract, will I be charged, what are the stipulations around it? You can use these programs to filter and siphon and summarize all of the terms of service so you're not hit with surprises. And it can do this if you copy and paste the text into those programs, or if the link is publicly available that they can read these services and isn't hidden behind some firewall or window, and these programs would have access to it, they can interpret, read, and summarize the terms of services for you for absolutely free. It costs you nothing. So take advantage of these AI programs. This is exactly what they're designed to do. Read lengthy contracts that no person's going to want to sit there and read through and understand, take an afternoon off. You just want the Cliff Notes version. Can I be charged and will I be billed if I decide not to use it? And this can help you catch and watch for red flags before you even sign up and enter your information. Regulatory bodies such as the Federal Trade Commission, Better Business Bureau are trying to work with governments to start passing legislation about free trial traps, like I said, but progress is slow and still evolving. Companies have a bad habit of always wanting continual growth, right? They always want their stock to go up. I know this because I'm a corporate accountant and analyst and prepare financial statements, and this is a bad habit of companies, always wanting continual growth. So they don't care if they have to knock 50% off your subscription service. If they'll retain you as a customer, they're prepared to do it. Hey, do me a favor. If you feel like you're getting something out of this video, would you hit the like button and leave me a comment with whatever you want to say, even if it's just to say hi, or if you've ever been the sucker of one of these free trial subscription traps. In case we haven't met, I'm Aaron, a 20-year corporate accountant and analyst living in Western Canada. I talk about personal finance, investing, and investment portfolios. I try my absolute best to represent the middle and working class and their feelings and perspectives. If this sounds like something you'd be interested in, consider subscribing to my channel. So companies will often use every trick in the book, right, to keep you on those platforms. So they either come up with buttons like, are you sure you want to cancel? Or like I said, throw 50% off terms at you. So, well, if they keep you but only get you for half the amount, well, hey, half a customer is better than no customer, and you'll keep engaged and stay on that platform. That's their main strategy. Keep you on, keep you spending. That's why for personal finance, I'm a big proponent of sitting down with your bank statement, your Visa statement, whatever, and going through. You'll probably find that there's subscriptions that you barely or hardly ever use, fees that you didn't even know about, or things that you can reduce drastically. One thing I find very interesting just about how people's minds work is if I were to offer you $60 for 2 hours of work, right? $30 an hour. You might consider it and say, yeah, okay, that's worth my time. All right. But if you had to sit down and go through and create a budget or go through your bank statement, and would take an hour, but you save $100. Most people would put it off and say, oh, I don't want to do that. That's $50 an hour, $100 you'd save. And this would be probably ongoing. Oh, I don't want to do that. I don't have time. But you'll donate your time, 2 hours for $60. See? It's just the way people's minds are wired. It's funny to me. The Federal Trade Commission has recently announced that they are going to start making changes so that cancellation policies and procedures are outlined explicitly and stated in easy to understand simple terms. In other words, it should be a one-click to cancellation policy. That's it. No hoops to jump through. This policy targets what are known as negative option sellers. These companies treat customer inaction, them forgetting to cancel their subscriptions, as consent to keep charging them. It also prohibits tactics like cutting customers off, leaving them on hold for extended periods of time, or giving and providing false information on where to go and how to actually cancel subscriptions. California has implemented steps to prevent customers from falling for these tricks. A bipartisan law now requires that companies that have an auto-renew or continuous renewal subscription have an online, easy-to-find cancellation process that is a one-click box that they can simply just cancel their subscription and they don't have to jump through hoops in order to make this happen. Nothing that obstructs or delays the process. Several other states, such as New York and Vermont, are taking California's lead and following suit as well. How to avoid the free trial trap. Step-by-step guide on actions you can take. A few simple things that you can do to protect your wallet. Look at the terms of service agreement. If it's lengthy, convoluted, looks like pages and pages that you don't understand or don't have the first clue of, this is a red flag. I just bypass it because they're making it overly complicated. If you can't understand exactly how to cancel, how much you'll be charged, then I just pass. It's not worth the headache and aggravation. You don't probably need it, that product or service, that badly. Another thing is, like I said, 62% of people forget, right? Put something in your calendar when you first sign up saying, hey, remember to cancel this subscription before, unless you want to keep it, before it auto-renews, right? 2-3 days before the deadline. That way you'll remember and you won't be charged. A third thing is consider getting a virtual credit card, right? That has a limit on the amount it can be charged. So these are simple credit cards that have a set amount on them. So you can't be overly charged on it. Or, like I said, really consider if you should enter any payment information, such as your credit card number, your PayPal account. If you haven't entered anything, like I said, they probably can't charge you because you're not linked to any financial information. So you're most likely safe. There's no way for them to charge you. So if you're just signing up with your name and email or whatever, you're probably okay. The fourth thing is contact your bank or your credit card company and ask or dispute any charges immediately. If you leave it for months and months to go by, it's a lot harder to dispute than if you catch it within the first few days and say, hey, I'm going to dispute this, or I want to know steps I can take. Sometimes your bank or institution can help, sometimes they can't, but it's worth a try. The fifth thing you can do is file a complaint, right? If you know for sure that the company is in the wrong, that you were charged and you didn't agree to it, file a complaint with the FTC, Federal Trade Commission, or in Canada, this would be the Canadian Anti-Fraud Centre. File a complaint with them. And will it help? It should. There's numerous complaints already, but we have to get the wheels turning and the ball in action, so to speak. So the more complaints that are filed with a company, the better the chances are that change will eventually come into legislation. At least it's something. And the sixth thing is, like I said, use AI programs such as ChatGPT, Copilot, Gemini, all these various programs out there to read these free trial terms of service, right? I'll put up a little, sample if you want to use this prompt, by all means. I'll also put it in the description, but use this, something like this, to quickly summarize, interpret the terms of service so that you're not hit with any surprises, right? That's what these AI programs can do and what they're there for, to save you hours of going through terms of service. It can interpret it within a few minutes, right? So your time is valuable. Nobody wants to spend an afternoon reading these terms of service. All this 10 minutes can save you hours and hours of aggravation and frustration. So in conclusion, free trials often aren't free. They come with hidden costs and services, many of which consumers are just unaware of. Whether they forgot to cancel their subscription, feel it's only a $15 charge per month and they'll just eat it rather than go through the embarrassment, frustration, and headache of having to cancel it. Whatever the situation is, be very cautious about these free trials. These small drips from your savings, your investment, your credit cards, they can really add up. So the more money we can put back into your pocket, the better. So stay protected, stay informed, and if you got something out of this video and you're interested in personal finance, consider subscribing to my channel. If you're interested in how to create a strong, robust investment portfolio, you might want to check out this next video here. It's well worth a look. And please leave me a comment. I personally respond to every single comment that I get. I really appreciate your time.